Welcome to another episode of Hanging with the Hunns with your host, Todd and Carrie Hunn. Hey y'all, welcome to Hanging with the Hunns. This is the 80's edition. I'm your host, Todd. This is my lovely wife, Carrie, the co-host.
Hi.
And our wonderful daughter, Jade, is here. Yay. She's home from school. So we're going to talk 80's movies because that's pretty much our favorite genre, I think.
Mm.
Other than...
Safe to say.
Yeah. That's safe to say. So, I don't know. We're just going to talk about our favorites, and I'm going to throw out some obscure ones that I love and that I've shown Carrie. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but what do you want to start with?
Well, what do you
list
have?
or
what do you have for your first one? Just curious.
Okay, so like,
popular ones.
Yeah, we can start with like popular.
I mean, I don't really have a order, but I mean, I put like the normal like Vacation.
Yeah, like just
Pretty
start
in
with some
Pink,
European.
Weird
Is that what you're
Science.
talking about? Vacation.
Just regular vacation.
Yeah. Yes. Vacation is the first one where they go to the Grand Canyon. It's like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. National Lampoon's Vacation.
That's a great movie.
Well, I guess European Vacation's my favorite out of all.
Do you have a favorite movie, honey?
I don't have a favorite. It's really hard to say for 80's movies. I have so many favorites, so it's
Just name
kind
a
of like
couple.
it's kind of like asking my favorite song.
Name a couple though.
Oh, okay. Well, some of them, like, let's see. Okay, so these are ones that I've probably have seen many times. Say at least maybe 10 times since I first saw it. So I'd say Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Goonies.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about these or?
Yeah.
I mean, if you
going
want
a little
to, you can
fast.
well, those are just some that I know I've seen probably 10 times.
So Pretty in Pink is probably, I mean, one of the greatest, 80's movies in my opinion.
Definitely the music.
Like 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, all the Brat Pack movies.
Pretty much any movie with Molly Ringwald too.
The Brat Pack. Yeah, 16 Candles.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the messages that you get from those, and just growing up watching those are just.
Yeah, they're.
You feel relatable in some of them.
Yeah, they were realistic too.
Yeah.
Like, which one? I always get Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles mixed up. Which one is the one with the relationship with her dad?
That's Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, I always liked that one.
Well,
16 Candles.
no, it's actually both.
Oh wait, no, it is Pretty in Pink.
You're right.
Because she inherits the dress.
Relationships.
No,
so 16 hold on.
Pretty in Pink is the one where she inherits the dress. That's the one where she has a relationship with her dad and they're like lower class.
Right.
And she's like scared to show her house to the guy.
Yes. Yeah,
I always liked that one because it's like, it's realistic.
Yeah.
Because he was like upper class and she's lower class and that kind of dynamic.
And he just wanted the best for her.
Yeah, like he didn't care about that. He just liked her.
Yeah.
Single dad.
Yeah, and he like
struggling.
Tried to, it was sweet.
I like the communication she has with her dad and 16 Candles too. That's what I was thinking of.
And of course, Ducky.
Oh yeah,
everyone's
classic.
Everyone loves Ducky.
I wish, there needs to be more people
Speaking
like him.
of Ducky, I had no idea John Cryer had so many movies.
Definitely.
I only knew of like that one.
I remember seeing him when he's older. Yeah.
No, not even that. It's in the 80s.
So he's got
So
some.
I want to talk about those.
They're more like obscure movies, but like our favorites too. He was in a movie called Hiding Out, where he's like a Wall Street accountant or something, like a Wall Street money guy, and he gets involved with some kind of
gets in trouble,
mob thing, has to go hide out, and ends up in a high school, and he's running for president of the high school, and it's
I don't want to give away too much, but it's.
I mean, if you haven't seen it by now,
it's such a good movie.
We're not worried
Spoiler
about
alert.
spoilers.
Yeah. But that's really good. And
No.
then there's Morgan Stewart's Coming Home, and that's another John Cryer movie.
Yep, and Dudes.
Yeah,
Dudes was probably the latest one we found. And I'm not sure how we come across it. Maybe we were searching for a movie of his and that one came up and I was like, oh, let's check this one out. And it's interesting because it starts out with some like punk rockers that are in New York, and him and his friends, and they're just kind of
Wanting to hit
doing
the
their
road and
doing their
doing
thing.
their
Well,
thing.
they're kind of just hanging out at their apartment. I think they get bored or something where they're just like they wanted to go to the West Coast, so they set out to
Right.
go to California, and on the way on the road trip, some crazy stuff happens.
Yeah.
It is just
Some redneck
it just gets crazy.
meth heads
It's like,
in
what
the,
is happening?
in the desert. And I can relate to that. I've seen,
Yeah.
not that I was a redneck in the desert or a meth head or anything like that, but I had many adventures in the desert when I was a skateboarder, and those people are real. I mean,
I had no
they're
idea that
not
there was
good
stuff
people.
out like that. That
That's-
movie was really interesting. It was fun. So yeah, dudes, check
Yep.
it out.
And then, is there any other Cryer movies?
I'm gonna say those are probably the top ones besides Pretty in Pink. So I was really excited. I feel like he was just underrated in the 80s because I had no idea about those other movies, you know.
Right.
So I was happy to find those, and I was like, wow, he's a really good actor.
Yeah.
he's good in those. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit.
So if you're a Ducky fan, those are other movies you can go watch if you haven't seen them already. So I got Weird Science.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites because they were kind of similar age, and the whole dynamics of the cool guys in the mall and then the dorks, at home on their computers. I don't know if I could relate to any certain one character, but I can relate to kind of the whole thing, the whole experience. But that's a great movie, and they create a hot girl on their computer with a missile, or no, it wasn't a missile, it was a Barbie doll. But anyway, so that's a fun movie. And there's like zombie apocalyptic bikers in there, and
Yeah, it's
And
pretty wild.
Chet.
I mean everything that makes it an awesome 80s movie.
That's what we named our frog. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Our old frog.
Yes, Chet.
Yeah.
So
So what about you, Jade? What was one of your favorites
as
out
far
of
as
these or out of your listing?
favorites, Stand By Me is an 80s movie, isn't it?
yeah,
that's a
I
great
think it was
Oh,
movie.
I love
late
that
80s.
movie.
Yeah, that's
I
a
don't
good
know.
one. It
That
is.
one was a sad one.
I like sad movies. so
Yeah.
what can I
That
say?
got me when I was younger and I saw it. It got me.
It's
pretty good.
it's good. I just like the kind of nostalgic feel to it since it's a bunch of kids going on a journey. But I also like Raising Arizona because it's funny
That's so good.
and quirky, and it's
Yes.
just like a story that you don't usually see. It's
Those characters are
Yeah,
a
that is
wild.
prison free
High.
bird getting a random baby because they want a kid.
I know.
So it's funny. You
That
don't see
was,
concepts like that anymore
Yeah,
that are done well, at
that
least.
was a good one.
But I like that one. I also like Goonies, of course.
Yeah. That
It's a
one's funny
classic.
because, of course, I saw it when I was younger, and then watching it with you guys, the beginning part, it's like all the cursing. I had no
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
And y'all were younger when we were so.
Mhm.
I was like, oh my gosh, it must have been because
I
I
used to
watched it on
watch-
cable, and back in
Yeah.
the 80s,
Right.
you watch it on cable, they take out all that
But
stuff.
I used to have that when I had that on DVD, and when I was younger, I would watch it all the time, just like over and over
I love
in my
that movie.
room.
Let me tell
It's a
y'all,
good one.
I had a crush on Kelly Green,
Mm.
or is it Carrie Green?
Carrie Green, yes,
Carrie
and I think
Green.
you say that every time we watch it.
Yeah,
I know,
every
but
time.
I mean, sorry, I had
No,
a
it's
crush.
just funny.
I mean, you can talk about your crush.
Anyway, I just thought
Yeah.
it was funny
Mm.
because you did
Yeah,
tell us.
I know I do.
I
I
think
love
that
her. She was in Lucas too. That was an
Speaking of
80s
crushes,
movie.
yes, because Corey Haim was my crush, and I did
Lucas.
bring that up.
That's a good one. Yep, Corey Haim.
Mhm.
Rest in peace.
I think that as a like horror movie fan, I think that also was a good decade for horror movies because
Oh,
that's when
yes.
The Shining came out in the
Yes.
80s,
That
I
was,
think, or
I think that was
79.
70. I think it
Oh,
was
that
earlier.
might have
I
been.
don't know,
70s.
actually. It was
Pretty
But
sure it was the
you're not
70s.
wrong.
No,
There were some
1980,
great
Oh, it
80s.
was?
exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
And then we
made
had
it.
like Halloween 2, I
Yes,
think,
Halloween
Friday
movies.
the 13th,
Yes.
Nightmare on Elm Street, like
and
all
I
of
watched
those.
Yes.
scary movies back then, which
Oh
is
my
funny.
gosh.
Now I don't really
And I
care for
think-
them, but
That it was a good decade for those because that's when they started really like.
Freddy Krueger.
You probably
Sitting
were
in,
allowed
yeah.
to watch those at
That's what I
like
said,
grandma's
Nightmare on
house,
Elm
right?
Street.
What?
She probably let her watch like Friday the 13th.
She
and
didn't show
everything.
me 80s ones.
Oh, no.
She showed newer ones that weren't good.
Okay.
So
Who, me?
I think
No, Grandma.
Oh, yeah.
Nightmare on Elm
She didn't
Street
like
was such a scary movie for me. I remember it was so hard for me to sleep after that. Not for like days, for like one night after
Yeah,
I
it'd be
saw
hard
it.
to go to sleep.
But
Yeah, of course.
yeah, that movie was that was terrifying. And then I think we watched it like later, maybe
Yeah,
a year
and it was
ago,
nope,
and
no,
silly.
it's horrible now.
Nope,
But that's
I
also
couldn't.
when Children of the Corn came out too.
Oh, yes,
So there's a
they-
lot
Yeah.
of
Was that Stephen King?
no,
That's not Stephen King?
no, I don't
think it is.
No,
No.
Oh, I thought that
I don't
was
think
Stephen
so.
King. And
No,
of course, he had some good 80s movies.
no,
too.
it's not Stephen King.
And forgive us, we're not very good with the names of directors and everything, unless it's like John
Hey,
John
we're-
Hughes. We'll know every one of
Clue.
those.
We're just sharing some great movies that we
Yes.
enjoyed that if you have forgotten or you haven't seen, this is why we're talking
Clue
about
also came out in
Clue?
the 80s.
it. One of
Clue
my
is
favorites.
great.
And you know what's great about that
Tim
one?
Curry.
You always forget the ending. Yep.
ending every time.
I
And
know,
I'm so
it's
thankful.
crazy.
So I don't know how they did that, but every single time I'm like,
It's because
"I
after
did
they
it."
do so many
They're so
different
good.
impossible endings, you forget which one
It's perfect
is the real
because
one.
I think
that
I-
movie especially should have been done that way.
Yeah,
It couldn't have been done any other way because I don't know, it just
I think you always
perfect.
expect the butler to be the one because they always say the
Yeah.
butler did it, but I don't.
Oh,
Oh,
think
that's
he did
also
it.
when Chucky and Child's Play came out in the 80s.
really
too.
those
So
80s.
a
Oh, I
lot
thought
of
that was
classic
90s.
horror movies
Yes.
came out in the 80s.
80s had just great music. They have great movies too.
Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned the
I love
soundtracks
the
and all
80s.
these
Oh, God,
all these
the-
movies
they
are
can't-
amazing.
Yeah,
They can't be beat.
Soundtracks.
And
And
a
also-
lot of the bands that played in the soundtracks of the 80s are like doing reunion tours now, so it's perfect. We get to see like like the Violent Femmes and Psychedelic
yes,
Furs.
Psychedelic
Yeah.
Furs.
They were
so much
amazing.
And we
fun.
got to see The Cure too,
The
Yep,
Cure,
and the
yes.
Cure.
which
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
So
But the
And I'm
Violent
hearing more
Femmes
and
were
more,
like
too.
70s too, though, right?
you what?
Violent Femmes.
No, they're
They
80s,
did 80s, so
90s.
They were also. Oh, I thought they were also in the 70s.
So I've got one that I turned Carry On to, and I love it. It's one of my favorite 80s movies, and it's kind of obscure. Out of Bounds,
Yes.
and it's with Anthony Michael
I
Hall.
love that movie now, and I'm so thankful you shared it
I
with
think
me.
we all watched. I think you showed me that one too.
Yeah,
That's another one I can watch
try to
over and
show
over.
everyone that one,
Mhm.
and it's got Susie and the Banshees is playing live, and he's like a farm boy that comes in. The story is pretty cool. It's got a good story, and his bags get mixed up at the
Oh, yeah, yeah,
airport. And he gets a bag full of heroin. So and anyway, it gets crazy after that. And there's like a punk rock girl in there,
Mhm.
and she's pretty cool. But he turns into like a LA punker.
Yeah, it's a
Dude.
good movie.
Yeah,
It has
so
a little bit of everything. It's like action packed, and then it's got
good music.
some suspense and mystery, and then there's
Love.
love story, which
Yeah.
I always love.
Yeah, that's how all the 80s
I
movies
know.
they all have like every
Everything. Yeah.
aspect, of a good movie. Another one that is kind of cult classic is They Live
Oh yes,
with
definitely.
Roddy
especially these
Piper.
days.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of coming true. Maybe, I don't know. I don't have any glasses that can.
Oh
tell if
yeah,
people
that's
are
the one where you
aliens.
can. Yeah,
He finds a box of glasses and puts them on, and
Mhm.
all the billboards have like secret messages that say like obey.
Yeah, Apple just came out with a new set of glasses that you can like do things on. So
Yeah.
that might be our future.
Who
To be
knows?
honest.
But he can also see the aliens living amongst us. They're with the glasses off, they look like everyone else, and then he puts the glasses on and he sees these crazy
I'd like to see
they're
that one again.
super cheesy looking aliens, but it's a great cult classic.
So, would you say Real Genius is a cult classic, or like a obscure, or is that a popular one too? Have you
I
seen
don't
that
know.
one?
I think it's
I
probably
don't know.
Val Kilmer?
less popular than like Weird Science
That's a good movie.
with Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Weird Science is very popular.
Yeah,
I
that's definitely
haven't heard
popular.
that title.
Yeah, Real Genius is good. The college nerds, they build a laser
Mm.
and they try to use it for a weapon, and it ends up filling the house with popcorn.
Have we mentioned any? Have we mentioned any of your other ones you had
Me?
on your list, Jade?
Me?
yeah.
I kind of went over a lot, but
Is there anyone you want to?
as far as like funny ones that are like silly, I know we just recently watched Twins or The Twins
Oh, was that
with
80s?
with
Yes.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold
That's a great
Schwarzenegger
one.
and Danny DeVito.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
And I like old like comedies like that too, because it's such an like random thing that would never happen. Like those
Right.
two would never actually be twins. And I think, isn't the joke that they're supposed to actually be identical too? They're not fraternal.
I think what the theme is they had like all these donors that were like
Oh yeah,
athletes
yeah.
and professors and
Uh-huh.
scientists and they made one superhuman
And then
he was
one
like the
Danny
accidental
DeVito.
leftover.
Yeah, the leftover.
But at the end when the
Like, how
when
do
the
you get in
mom
there?
when the mom finds, I love it when at the end the mom finds them, like they finally meet.
Mhm.
She's like, I can't even tell you apart. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, right,
exactly.
sure.
Yeah, I get it.
Nice. That's a good
And
one.
also I think two that never, or the ones that never get old to me, would definitely be like Back to the Future, because
Oh,
there's just
yes.
something like, you can't recreate those movies.
Yeah.
There's no way that
So
you could
good.
take that movie and make a new one. And I also just love rewatching it from time to time to see like, oh, this is what they thought. Because I think the year that they said would be like 2023 or 2022
Yeah,
or
just
something
passed.
like that.
Not too long
And
ago.
they were like, oh yeah, we would have flying
Right.
cars and everything, but we don't.
We
But
kind
like,
of have those hoverboards.
yeah, I was
though.
gonna say
I know that was
it's cool to see what we
They
do
come
have,
close.
like the 3D like shark in that movie.
Right.
Like we have that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Like in New York, there's like big billboards that are like 3D now,
right.
and then we have hoverboards and like stuff like that. So it is cool to see like how it would be. But
You know what's really funny to me on that topic is, like you look at the old movies that are, 80s or before, and they're like science fiction, and they have like all the computers and stuff, and like the knobs, everything they think is gonna be
and it's actually
in the
more
future is like
simplified. Yeah,
the most clunky, like worst thing. Like
that's how
everything
it
now
in,
is like
in Alien
touchscreen.
too. I think
Yeah.
Alien actually is a good representation
Yeah.
of how it is now because it's simplified.
Yeah,
But I don't know
definitely.
when those came out.
But they're, I just think it's funny that the points they miss, and then
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff they're pretty accurate. Like
yeah,
touchscreen and stuff like that.
right.
And, but yeah, so that's funny.
Well,
do
here's
we
some
got?
goofy ones I wanted to
Oh yeah, let's
mention.
moving on to silly
Okay,
ones.
so I feel like they're classic, but not everybody likes them. But they're totally goofy. But I like them, and that would be like Police Academy and
Oh,
Nerds.
yeah.
The sound.
Oh yeah,
effects.
Revenge of the Nerds, of
Yes,
course.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Booger.
Oh my gosh, those are hilarious. Oh, and Spaceballs.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
love Spaceballs.
I did too.
Yes.
That one's on my list too. I love Spaceballs. It's so funny.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Yeah, that's another thing. So like movies in the 80s are so inappropriate nowadays, and that's I think that's what I love the most about them. Even the 90s, they're so like not politically correct in the things they do and everything. So it's like when kids watch them these days, they're like, oh my god, you can.
Well, I
it's
don't
just
think
funny.
Spaceballs is that controversial though. It's just like crude humor.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I remember being little and wanting to
Prince
watch it
Valiant.
really bad, and then I had to wait until I was like
Yeah.
a little bit older because there's like
Yeah.
the crude humor and everything.
But it's like so. What's that word?
Innuendo.
Oh, they do that
Innuendo,
still.
to where it's like
yeah, of course.
like the kids don't know what's going
Uh-huh.
on, but we do.
Oh, they
or
still
the
do that.
adults
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
instance, Shrek. was
Like
one of
Shrek,
them.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just want to mention maybe a few more that I don't know if a lot of people would like, but I liked Valley Girl, Just One of the Guys.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I was
Teen
going to
Witch.
talk about that one too because I feel like it's kind of funny in this day and age
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, Just One of the Guys. I love that it's like nothing was going to stop her doing what she wanted to do. It's like
Yeah.
she's being told, no, you can't do it. And
I mean,
of course
hey,
now,
it's-
especially nowadays, all these women feel like they want to talk about like how they can't get certain
wage
things.
gap.
Yeah. What is that called? What is it?
Wait,
She just said
No,
it.
not wage gap. There's actually another one.
discrimination.
anyways.
Yeah.
It's a common
Sexism.
thing. It's a common
Yeah.
thing that even it's interesting to see even in the 80s. That,
I mean, hey, it's
it
like
was an
Joan
of
issue
Arc.
Then.
Yeah, it's kind of
and still
sexism.
now,
I mean, they have
Yeah.
like
you have
the
certain teachers that tell you can't do something because they expect like women not
male
to do it as
dominated
well.
world.
And that's
I
what's
mean,
great about
it's-
that movie because she's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do what I gotta do because I'm gonna get it anyway.
I love that they have the same kind of bully dude in that movie. The guy from Karate Kid. He's the same bully
Oh,
in both
yeah.
movies, and he's like, he's got his workout gloves on, and he lifts the
He
tables
was
and spills all
definitely
the milk and everything.
typecasted. He was
Yeah.
that guy like in every
Every
movie.
single movie.
Poor guy.
He's like the
Yeah.
best bully
Yeah,
or jock or whatever you want to call him.
totally.
So what about Night of the Comet?
Mm.
Oh, would you call that an obscure movie?
I think they actually called it maybe a sci-fi horror, but
that was good.
I don't know if people don't know about it, but
I think they
That's a
actually
good-
had it listed as
that's
an
a good,
obscure movie.
end times apocalypse.
And it's a little cheesy. I mean,
Yeah.
80s
Oh, it's
movies
totally
are,
cheesy,
a lot
but-
of 80s movies are cheesy.
But it's one of those movies. It's one of those movies
that?
that I don't know. I bit my tongue.
Mm.
It's one of those movies that like holds. It's still relevant today, but it's like all the special effects. They're like super bad, but
God.
it's
all
such
the
a
clothes-laying
it's such a good movie. It doesn't even matter. It's
I think also like on that specifically, like I think a lot of what made 80s movies was the poor special effects, because like two that I really like are like The Labyrinth and Dark Crystal.
Oh, yeah.
And those are like, they just don't do
ones,
puppet
too.
movies like
No,
that
I
anymore. Like
know.
it's so like the detail and the effort that goes into those movies is like unmatched. Like I love The Dark Crystal, and it's like
yeah.
creepy
Jim
and
Henson
dark
was
and whimsical.
amazing.
And
his
they're
characters
actually-
are cool.
I was talking to Dad about this earlier that they're making, or it's being planned to make a new Labyrinth. To make a new Labyrinth, and I don't like that idea because you can't
Yeah.
recreate that movie. You
No.
don't have David Bowie, and you don't have like. I know that it's going to be a lot of CGI, and it's not going to be like the
Yeah.
actual set that they build, which is what sets that movie aside. And also, it's supposed to be by the guy who did Nosferatu that just came out. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them trying to recreate classic movies.
Yeah, there's
They
a lot
keep
of
doing
80s
that.
movies that we'd be like, do not touch.
I feel like
do
that
not
should
Can't
be-
touch Goonies.
I feel like that should be Tim
Labyrinth.
Burton doing that,
Mm.
because he's the
He's got a different style though. He's
Yeah.
not as whimsical and like dark and that kind of
Yeah,
I
stuff.
mean, I
that's a
understand if
great
they want to
movie.
take the concept and remake
Because
a
they
movie.
did Beetlejuice when they remade, which is also an 80s movie,
right.
and they remade that. It was good because they still tried to do the 80s kind of effects, like Willem Dafoe in that movie. He had kind of like a cheesy
Yeah,
makeup. So I like when they bring the 80s in instead of just like
yeah, that was
making
good.
it all new age and everything and keeping the
I'm not
old
really sure.
cast.
I'm kind of on the fence about the whole baby Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, that was
It was
weird.
kind of corny, but I mean, out of everything, I mean,
Yeah, it was
is what
good.
it
I
is.
mean, nothing can
It was
top
a
I
good
the
always
movie.
thought that was
original,
the
though.
80s movie, but it's 90s, isn't it?
No, Beetlejuice is 80s.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
So I want to talk about because I was a skater growing up,
Mm.
and so I surfed a little bit. My brothers were more surfers than me, but I used to go with them and paddle around and get crushed by the waves and everything. But I never was really good. But so I like the movies. There's North Shore, which is a good movie about a kid, like a Midwest kid, that he's champion of the wave pool in his hometown, and he ends up moving to the North Shore and wants to become, a professional surfer. You remember that movie? I know I've watched it with y'all.
With me?
I think
Yeah.
so.
And he ends up training with a guy
What's it
with
called?
these big longboards, and then he ends up getting into pipeline and like does really good and wins the girl and the championship, and
of course.
the locals, they end up loving him, so, which is not realistic. So, and then I've got Thrashing Bones Brigade movies, and Gleaming the Cube.
Oh,
And those
that's
are
a
all
good one. I do
I
remember
love
that
all of
one.
those.
skateboarding movies. Yeah, of course
Yeah.
you do, because it's what's his name? Christian
Slater.
Slater.
I liked him, yeah.
That's like the Hollywood version of the skateboard scene, and it was good. The plot's kind of funny.
I just like him in general. I like him in all his movies,
Yeah, me
like
too.
Heathers and all of those.
Yeah, like Pump Up the Volume.
That's 90s.
Yeah, that's
I know, but
90s.
it's a
I
good movie.
love that movie. It's a
Yeah.
good movie. I
True
don't remember
Romance.
this movie.
Sorry, we're getting into
Yeah, we're trying to stick to the 80s here,
long
honey.
I mean,
decade. And
They
then
confused everybody.
Thrashing was good. It was like
yeah, I
it's
love
kind of
that
cheesy, but it had a good love story, and it was like
Friendship.
skateboard gangs of Venice, and they all wore leather. They looked like bikers. And then I think that kid the girl was from the Midwest. They were both from the Midwest. There's always like a country boy getting involved with the skate gangs.
Which one was with Nicole Kidman that we just watched?
So that is on my list too. BMX Bandits.
And
that might have been her first movie.
I think so.
That's the one
Did you
I
see
was
that
thinking
one?
of. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that one
that
a lot.
movie's great.
Yeah.
That is a good movie.
They basically are in Australia, and it's three friends, and they're all BMXers, and they're fighting crime or something.
Yeah, is that the one where there's like a big warehouse?
They find
and
some
like
walkie-talkies or something. Yeah.
That one's good.
And they're worth a lot of money. I don't know. Maybe they have like drugs in them or something. There was a reason they were worth a lot of money. But anyway, I think they're police scanners.
What's that one movie with like the I want to say it's that movie, but there's like a it's in Chinatown or something, and they're all like I don't know if it's a biking movie or a skating movie, but and this guy I don't remember.
I don't either. Chinatown.
I'll think of it later. No, it's like the city, not the. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, I know there's
somewhere in California, maybe.
The Bones Brigade movies. They had the Search for Animal Chin, which was like a mysterious, mystical skateboarder, and he had one of those rice patty hats.
No, I didn't mean that. Chinatown is a city.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. Anyways,
that's the only reference I know to
but
China.
What else were you saying though?
Oh, I just thought of another.
Well, I thought of another movie too, but I'm waiting for him to finish.
Oh, that's it.
I don't know if this is like obscure, but another one that I really liked was The Burbs. I think that came out in the 80s.
Was that?
Maybe.
No, it did.
That was 80s?
Yeah. Yes.
It was Tom Hanks?
Yes, because he's young in
Burbs.
that.
I said
The Burbs. Like, no, The Burbs is like way back.
No.
That's Alfred Hitchcock.
But The Burbs, oh my gosh,
no,
I love that movie.
I love that movie, and I used to watch it all the time. That also has when what's his name is young.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
The other Corey.
He was young, yeah. The singer Corey.
What about speaking of Corey Feldman?
Singer Corey.
he had a bunch of movies, and Corey Haim.
Yeah.
Was Lost Boys? Is that 80s?
Yes.
And that was
so
Corey
that
Haim.
was a great movie. Vampire movie.
Were they both in that one?
Yeah, they're the Frog Brothers.
That's
or the
right.
Frog Boys. Frog Brothers.
I
and
loved
they were
when
the
they were in
Vampire
movies together.
Slayers.
That's awesome.
And then Kiefer Sutherland was in that. And
but yeah, I
that's a
really
good
liked
one.
The Burbs. It was a good, like, creepy movie, but it was also funny too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's great.
do you have any other ones? I got plenty more.
Oh, I just want to mention. Okay, so I don't know the name of this one, but I just remembered, and it's really good. So if you remember the movie, it's a good suggestion. And it's the one with Kevin Costner, and Allison actually told us about it. And when she told us about it, we came home and watched
the
it.
Soldier
I was like,
one,
this is so good.
Against All Odds.
I don't think it was Against All Odds. I think it was
Sorry,
no.
Phil Collins.
Kevin Costner, and I think was the girl the one that was from Ace Ventura.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, never mind.
I thought it was.
I'm gonna try to look it up right now.
Beyond. Wait, hold on.
It was so good.
Yeah,
and I
look
just
that up, and
remembered
I'll talk about Gotcha.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Gotcha was a movie that I loved. It's a paintball movie. I was never like into paintball or anything, but when it came out, they had this movie called Gotcha, and it was the guy from Lewis or Gilbert from Revenge of the Nerds, the blonde one. I don't know, is that Lewis or Gilbert?
Lewis, I think, is the
Lewis.
dark-haired one, and Gilbert, I think, is the
No,
blonde.
Gilbert's the one. Anyway,
Right, now you got
he's the
him
one.
mixed up. Oh, that's not Lewis? Oh, see, I don't know. I got him mixed up.
So Lewis and Gilbert will be joining in.
Good
I
band.
can't think of it. Anyway, we got Poindexter on the violin, and Lewis and Gilbert will be joining in. That was good. That was
Can I see that real quick?
what was his name?
So I
Dang
can look
it!
something up.
I'm so bad with names.
Another one.
So anyway, Gotcha
There it is.
was this movie where this kid, they played this game called Gotcha on his campus at school, and basically it's paintball, and they all were on like a team, and they were trying to shoot each other. Well, he somehow gets involved with this spy girl, of course, and they end up in like Berlin, and it turns into like a real game of gotcha, but it's like they're spies trying to kill them, and it's pretty cool. They have there's like they dress up like punks, and they disguise themselves to get away from the bad guys. But I looked everywhere for that movie and could not find it. They didn't have it for sale on Amazon or anywhere. And then I think we mentioned it a couple times, and maybe the algorithm heard us on our phones, because it was shortly after that we found it, and wasn't it free? It was on one of the platforms anyway. And so that if you haven't seen Gotcha and you like a good action movie, that's a good one. And it's got the romance, of course, and love affair.
It's got a little bit of everything. Yeah, it's good. Did you say No Way Out? Is that what you said?
No Way Out.
That's what it's called. No Way
No,
Out.
I didn't say that. I said
I know what you said.
Odds.
It's not that one.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the one where
No Way Out.
Yep.
Yes.
No Way Out. That's with Kevin Costner. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I was thinking of
drama.
the movie I was trying to remember was Gleaming the Cube. His brother dies.
Yeah.
And he's
got
Vietnamese.
the Vietnamese brother, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. But it takes place. Doesn't it take place in like Anaheim?
Yeah, Little Saigon.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
just okay. I was trying to think of, it was something like that. I really like that one. That one's good. And it's like crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing some kind of the video store the father
Okay,
owns
yeah, that's
is like
yep, that's it. That's the one that I
trading
like can vividly
illegal
remember.
goods or something, weapons maybe.
Yeah.
Probably
And
like
that's the one with
machine guns
that's
or
the one with the
something.
warehouse scene. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a great movie. I wanted to talk about Better Off Dead. Did we talk about that? So
I don't
Better
think
Off Dead, that's probably one of my favorite movies. I love
Yes.
John Cusack. And
And
that's
it's considered a Christmas movie.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
I just found that out.
And it's a
Just realized
crazy
that.
movie. It's a
So Die
skiing movie. He has a nice Camaro in that movie, and it looked like the one my dad had, which is really sweet. So I love that car. So that movie's nostalgic for me. But
Speaking
there's all kinds of weird stuff. Like his mom is this weird lady, and she cooks like something with tentacles. Remember that? Or the Jello? There's like a Jello, and it like moves off the plate. So it's a comedy, and it's got crazy, silly parts, like the hamburger in the hamburger that starts dancing to.
I used to wonder if he
anybody
had some.
also.
I used to wonder if he
also
had
too.
some like weird imagination or something, because
Yeah, he did.
yeah, that's
Kinda like me.
He's
So-
like imagining a lot of crazy
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
definitely.
I was just gonna say, speaking
Good
of,
times.
because I mentioned that was like a Christmas movie, so there's a lot of good '80s Christmas movies.
Yep,
That's
Die
probably
Hard.
one of
Die
our
Hard, that's what I
favorites.
said.
Yeah, Die Hard.
Gremlins.
What else?
Alan,
Yes.
that was
Vacation 2
Alan
was that?
Rickman.
Or a Christmas Vacation? Is that
That's
80s?
in the
It is.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is
That's
it?
my
'cause that's one of my
favorite
other-
Oh,
Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's the greatest
I
Christmas
love
movie.
that movie.
Yes.
It's so funny. I just watched it recently. I have to watch it every Christmas. It's so funny.
So, did you have
Yeah.
any others?
I was thinking either Terminator because I was a huge.
Okay.
I still am, but he didn't really do movies. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, I love him. I loved his movies. He did Terminator, was 80s. That's a great movie. And also Commando, which has the famous scene where the Porsche is going around the corner and I think it rolls onto its side and totally, you would think the whole side of the car is damaged because it's on its side, and he pushes it over.
Oh, I remember
and when it
that.
goes around the corner, you can see it. It's like brand new. I'm like, what the heck?
Yep.
Yeah, so that was a good one. And of
Continuity
course,
issue.
all the one-liners, like, well, that was Predator. Predator, that's another one. Stick around. I had to get some Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff.
Mhm.
Remember, Sully, when I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
Oh, did you mention the Kevin Bacon one where he's a
I love Kevin Bacon.
Oh, yeah.
delivered a bike delivery? What?
Oh, yeah.
He rode a bike and delivered. What's
Oh, my gosh.
You never found it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, it's not on your list?
No, I don't know where it is. Not Silver Streak. Help me out, people.
Oh my God, that's right, because that's another one that I never saw, and you introduced me to.
He's
it.
a bike messenger.
Yes. Okay.
Oh my
I'm
gosh, in the streets of New York, and it opens up with Nelson Vales. He's like a velodrome champion. I remember that because I was into bicycling. And Quicksilver. So that was the name of the delivery service he worked for. I think Quicksilver.
Yes,
Delivery. That's a great movie.
Yeah,
and of course, it's got crime and gangsters and love scenes. And
80s.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned your all-time favorite Christmas movie ever.
Did I?
No, it's his.
I know,
The
but
heck?
I thought I did.
Die Hard?
No.
Oh.
And you have to watch it every time, but no.
Of course, Gremlins.
Yeah, there we go.
I
My
mentioned
favorite.
it earlier.
And a lot of times nobody else wants to watch it, but
Yeah.
Well, we watched it.
I didn't hear you say it.
They humor me.
80s was good Christmas movies.
Yeah, but I didn't hear you say Gremlins.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
But-
Gremlins.
Yeah, that's
Definitely.
a good one.
I love Gremlins.
Also, I just remember I've only seen like Short Circuit once, but it's cute. Little robot movie.
Number
Like,
25.
it's almost like the same kind of vibe as E.T., I think. Like it's discovering that little.
That's a good one too.
Yeah,
that
E.T.
little guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
E.T. was the reason I like that so much is because it was kind of in the area I grew up, so they had all those hills and everything for bikes, and I was the same age, and we used to love doing that. So like all the BMX scenes in that movie, they bring back memories.
So my aunt just told me she was the one that took me to the movies to see that. I remember going to see it in the movies, but I don't remember a lot. But she took me and she said I cried, and I was like, of course I did. I still cry.
It is sad. It's really sad.
Makes me cry every time. That's all. That's all. Like,
and also the little boy is such a good actor. Like I know I've shown you his.
He's the reason why I cry.
His
crying, I'm crying.
Yeah.
I've shown you his audition video, and it's incredible. He's literally only like 7 years old, and he's amazing at acting.
What's he say when they're dying? You're part of me. I can't think of it. Speaking of aliens.
Well, I was gonna say, when did the first one come out?
Aliens was in the 80s, but
the first
Alien
one?
was, I believe, it was like probably 79.
I was gonna say it had to be in the 70s because if Spaceballs was late 80s and they made fun of it, then it had to be either 80s or 70s.
Yeah,
so. And it's old.
Well, the first one I believe is is late 70s.
Yeah, but those
Aliens
are good. We just watched those.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
Did we mention Money Pit?
Yeah, you mentioned it, but I also mentioned it before we started because I really like that movie.
What's your favorite part in the movie?
I know
it's mine.
So
it's
funny.
Like every
I like when
time
he falls through the stairs. When he's like walking up, and after everything has already been bad, and then he goes to walk up the stairs, and then he falls through, and he's like, or like the leak and just everything goes wrong.
My favorite part.
Doesn't the toaster like explode or something too?
Yeah, the whole kitchen,
So
like,
fun. Or the
explodes, but-
door. They go to open the door and the door falls off. Everything in
So
that house.
the part
is
where
funny.
he's standing at the top, he's standing like there's the tub. I guess he's filling the tub.
No, that yeah.
Oh my god! And it's when that falls through, he just goes or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
he just can't do anything but laugh.
He was in a lot of good
Oh my
movies in the
gosh.
I
80s. He
know.
was also
That
in
is-
Big too. That was
Big.
in the
Oh,
80s.
that's so
Yeah.
good. I want to see that. I haven't seen that one.
It's a
In a
good
What
while.
about the
movie.
toy with Richard
Yeah,
Pryor
that's a great one.
What's that?
and
Which
not
one is
Doogie
it?
Howser? Is the I can't think of the
Oh
that
well,
kid
I
was
know-
in a lot of movies, but it's Richard Pryor where he's
Yeah.
he's like the
He works at the store or something, right?
no,
He's like,
he ends up being like a big brother to this or like a babysitter.
no, so he's working.
Oh, no, he's
at
a- yeah,
the
he's a
mall or
toy,
something.
duh.
No, he's working at the mall, and there's something that happens, and the kids there. I guess they're shopping maybe for his Christmas present.
Right.
He didn't know what he wanted. He's like, and he's telling
And
him
he
he can have
points
anything
at
he wants at the store.
Richard Pryor.
And I don't know what happens. There's like this scene that like something happens in the store, and it's like a mess or whatever, and he's like trying to clean. Something makes him laugh.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, I know what I want, or something. He's like, I want him. And he's
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna have to watch that
he's like,
again.
you can have anything you want.
That's
So
a
he's like, okay.
great movie.
It's so crazy.
So funny. You
Like,
ass.
what?
You ass.
No,
It's
he didn't.
US.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
Dang it, there was one I wanted to. Oh well, Breakfast Club. We mentioned that, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
like everybody's
Oh,
favorite. So.
yeah, I just named
We
off
just
some
saw.
of them, but yeah,
we
yeah,
just
yeah.
saw today on YouTube
Mhm.
the like reunion of the members, everyone except for Emilio.
Yeah,
wasn't
was
there.
something.
But that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
That's like, I mean, that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
Try not to be too
Also,
obvious.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was also in the 80s, and that's another funny
Yeah.
one. And a
Yes, I
cool
liked
concept of
that
like
one.
tiny little people
I
running
didn't
around.
really like the continuing, like the making more. They
No,
could have just left it
I
at
think
that
I've
first.
only
Yeah.
seen the first
Yeah,
one. I
that's-
just wait. What is that? Nah, that's probably 90s. Never mind. I keep thinking of a lot of good 90s.
So-
I wonder if
movies.
that might be 90s.
No,
too.
that's 80s.
Is it?
Yeah.
So going back to Breakfast Club, just to mention Judd Nelson, right?
Yes.
So, okay, so this is a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
This is a lot what I do though. It's like I'll see a movie, and if I really like everybody in that movie, or whoever, or if I like a certain person in that movie, I want to watch more of those movies, right?
Right.
More movies with them.
Yeah.
So we come across a movie with Judd Nelson in it that we never seen before, just recently.
Right.
Can't remember-
Making the grade.
Yes, it was really good.
Yeah,
too.
it was.
I liked it.
Yeah,
See,
it was good. It wasn't
I like
like.
those movies, even though they don't make them because you
Kind
look
of
it up and they
forgettable.
didn't do real good. I
But
guess.
I like him.
But
He's
I liked
he's a
it.
good actor.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I liked it because I like him, and he was kind of
Yeah.
like the same kind of character in Breakfast
Right.
Club. So.
And then wasn't Edward Scissorhands 80s?
Oh, I
That's
love that.
Anthony
No, that's
Michael.
I think
90s.
that's
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
But I love that movie.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
wait,
funny.
actually,
Depp
look
has
that
some
up.
good- Johnny Depp has some good '80s ones too.
Yeah. Johnny
He
Depp.
was in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
That was what his
Yep.
first movie, right?
I think so. One of them.
Well, wasn't he? No, because he was in that resort movie.
1990. Edward
Like a weird-
Scissorhands.
Last
like-
Resort?
Like
I
a
don't know. What is it?
1990.
Yeah.
something
So
resort.
almost 80s.
Last resort or something
Oh,
where he's
yeah.
like
That's what
Wait,
I
and-
said. I
yeah.
think
I haven't
Last
seen that one. I
Resort.
don't know.
something on
We haven't
what is
seen
that,
that
Tubi?
movie, so
Huh?
we haven't seen that movie.
I think I saw it probably when I was younger.
It's
I don't
funny
know.
Of course,
because
when I watched those kind of movies.
it's funny because when I also think of 80s movies, I think of a certain movie, but it was made in the 90s to be resembling the 80s. Like a lot of times they don't do good at resembling the 80s, but I'm talking about Dazed and Confused.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
That was more
always-
70s, right?
I always
Yeah,
want to
70s.
think, well, it was made in the 90s though.
Yeah,
right?
but it's
Yeah.
a 70s.
Right. But I always think
generation.
it's like 80s doing the 70s.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
I always think it's an 80s
Because it
movie,
feels
too.
like an 80s movie.
Right.
And so, but that's one of my favorites. But
And
it's
I thought it
90s.
was the 80s movie too until I had to look it up. So yeah, I know what you mean. What about Funny Farm? Did we talk about that one? Did you ever see Funny
I've
Farm?
never seen that,
So
but I
Chevy
know
Chase,
it.
that's a good movie.
Funny
It's one of my
Farm?
favorites.
Yeah, that's good.
I like it.
Yeah, and Chevy Chase. So he, I think Caddyshack
Oh,
might have been on the border of it. It's either 79 or 80, and that's probably one of the greatest golfing comedies
Yeah,
of
it's
all
good.
time. I mean,
it was 1980.
was it?
Caddyshack,
Yeah,
yeah.
so of course Caddyshack. That's on the top of my list. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's
It's
a good
got
one.
Rodney. Anything
Hey,
with
well, looks good on
oh
you.
god, we didn't even talk about Rodney. Oh, Wang, it's only
all
a
his
parking
movies
lot.
Are great.
Oh.
Oh my
But
gosh,
it looks
yes.
good on you.
Hey,
Isn't that
yeah,
what
no,
says
he
that?
goes.
Oh, I hate
Oh,
that
nice hat. What
Oh,
do you
yeah.
get? A bowl of soup with it or something like that? Oh, but it looks good on you. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So that's a classic. That's
And then
such
of
a
course
good
he's
movie.
got Easy
And then
Money.
he's got Easy Money,
Back to
School. Oh my gosh,
Wait,
Rodney's,
is Back to School 80s though?
Yes.
yeah, I think it's
Are you
probably
sure?
88, 89. I think I was a freshman. No, so that would have been 87.
1986.
Okay, so I was right
Yeah.
right before I was a freshman. But yeah, that's a great one. The triple Indy, the
Mhm.
best dive in the world. Yours truly. Oh. What else? Easy Money, that's a good one.
Oh my gosh. I just thought of another one.
What?
See, oh,
I'm off my list. I'm off my list, so we'll
I think I am too. Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh my gosh, I was thinking
my
that. I
gosh,
love that
yes.
movie.
And
And we just watched
Axel-
that too.
Would you like it with the
Axe.
lemon twist?
oh my
It
God,
is funny,
love
I love-
Well,
How do
He's
you-
probably my
well.
favorite.
How do you not notice a banana
Oh my
in your
gosh.
tank engine or whatever?
Oh, you're the one with the banana in the tailpipe.
Tailpipe. How do you
Yeah.
not notice a banana in your tailpipe?
Yeah.
So funny.
It's a good movie. I like that one.
Yes.
Also, Karate Kid is another classic
Oh, yes.
that never gets old.
Karate Kid.
I love that. The first one is also. It also feels so nostalgic, even though I didn't
Yes.
grow up in that.
Seriously, that
Decade.
movie's, yes, it's very nostalgic.
And
Feeling.
also the message and the feeling of it and how sweet, because like the whole relationship with him and Mr. Miyagi and
Yeah.
everything.
And the soundtrack is
Mhm.
really good.
Soundtrack, yep.
It's a
All
cruel,
right. Well, I think
cruel
we're
summer.
pretty much done. What do you think?
I don't know,
That
dude.
ends the list
We're
of
gonna
our
have like
movies.
all these people saying, "You forgot that movie."
Hey, well, hey, please
Comment down below. I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
comment down
No,
below
seriously.
because, and especially if we haven't seen it,
Yes. If you have any
Oh.
recommendations,
I know Pork Chop mentioned Wraith, and that was a good movie. I think it's with Charlie Sheen or
Oof.
Emilio, one of the brothers. I think it's Charlie Sheen, and he's got this like futuristic car that basically like kills people. I vaguely remember it, but it's pretty cool. It looks like a kind of looked like a weird, like almost like a Tesla and a Duster,
Cybertruck.
something like that. But anyway, that's a good movie. Forgot to mention that. And then, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of any other
I
ones.
also was gonna say, if we were gonna talk about soundtracks of movies, like what's your favorite movie soundtrack from the 80s? Because a lot, like, those make the soundtracks make the movies.
Yes.
Like when you're watching and you're like, oh my god, like every song back to back is good. Like all of the John Hughes movies are like that.
Yeah.
But also I think
Amazing.
Goonies too, because that's got like Cyndi Lauper
Yeah.
and all those like little.
I think I would have
ones
to
and
say
stuff.
like John Hughes movies, just as a
Mhm.
whole, had the best soundtracks.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, they're
definitely.
like
And
16 Candles
Yeah, I
was
was
probably
gonna
my
say-
favorite, and then Breakfast Club. But
Pretty in Pink.
yeah,
Pretty in Pink.
that
I
yeah.
think that one probably
Yeah,
has.
see, it's
I don't
John
know.
Hughes.
I couldn't say.
Some Kind of Wonderful. Oh, we didn't
Oh
talk about
gosh,
that.
that's right.
Some Kind of
Oh, that's
Wonderful.
what-
See,
Yeah,
I'm
I
telling
brought
you,
that
we
with
one
the
can go
drummer
on.
movie.
We can go on and on.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
a
think
great movie.
if you didn't mention any and you have suggestions, please comment. We would love to hear.
Yeah,
Maybe there's some that we haven't seen yet that you may know of. We'd love to know.
and we are definitely movie people. We watch movies all the
Yeah.
time, so we're if there's a movie out there that we haven't seen and it's good, let us know. And I mean, she didn't mention a bunch of like, especially like the Corey Haim movies that you know. The,
No, I think I mentioned most of them that
Did you?
I liked. I think so.
okay,
yeah.
like
I
the
mean,
ones where he License to Drive and those.
that wasn't one of my favorites.
Okay.
So I mean, I
Anyway.
liked him. I had a crush on him, but I didn't. There were some movies I don't really care for.
Yeah.
It was okay,
Mm.
but it's not my favorite. So yeah.
So,
thanks for watching.
Hope you
Thanks for
enjoyed it,
listening.
and hopefully we got some suggestions for y'all to watch. Check out the movies we were talking about if you haven't seen them.
Watch
And
'em.
See?
it was awesome having Jade here
Yay.
Yes.
to be on
Thank you for joining
our podcast.
us. Yes.
Glad to be here.
Yes.
Yay.
So we'll see you next time. Like and subscribe, and hit the little notification bell and do all those crazy things.
Mhm.
And we will see you next time. Love
Bye.
y'all.